the fact that Con Edison is a monopoly, they take a blatant advantage of people. And I particularly think they do so in minority communities, and I will give you an example, a personal example. I live in the Bronx, and they have told me that they read my meter every other month. So therefore, they're giving me an estimated bill. They're giving me an estimated bill, and I mean, I've fought them, I've argued, but it really is, I don't have a recourse because they are a monopoly. I don't have, yes, they say you can get supplementary, energy from other countries, but really when the bottom line hits, Con Edison is the one who's dictating it. And I mean, so basically you have to pay the bill because you got to have electricity in your house. You don't have a choice. I mean, this month I'm sitting with a $200 bill, and the reason why, because I know we had a heat wave. I didn't run my air conditioning that much, but I knew the bill was going to be higher anyway because they know they can get away with it. I wasn't home a lot of the time, and I wasn't running an air conditioner a lot of times, so it's 100% more than what my bill normally is, and it's because they can get away. They know they can get away with it. So, so that's just a big frustration that I have with our utilities, and the MTA, and I mean, Con Edison, of course, is one of our biggest utilities. And now we're, seeing that they're having strikes with Verizon, and a lot of it surrounds their union and, trying to make sure that they have the right kind of benefits for their employees and stuff like that. Now, what I'm hearing is that a lot of the employees really are willing to make concessions. They're willing to pay some of their health care, which I think is certainly not unfair, because we know that health care costs have become astronomical here. And why shouldn't you pay, for some of your health care? It's for your health care. So I don't have an issue with it, but the point is when you have people who've worked all these years and you want to take things from them but not give anything back, something's very wrong with that picture. Something is extremely wrong. I mean, you cannot keep asking people to give, and give nothing back to the individual. And this is what's happening across this country on a lot of levels. Case in point, when you look at the tax codes and you look at how now, I thought I commend Warren Buffett for coming out and telling billionaires that they should pay a little bit more. But the president's been saying this for months. It's almost like it's a new idea. It's not a new idea. He's been saying this for months, that the rich people should pay more money, and because they can. They pay less taxes than the average working person does. I mean, I've heard some of them say that they pay less taxes than their secretary does. Now, you tell me how much sense that makes. A person who's making a pittance of what they're making in a year, and they're complaining about paying because they have to pay $5,000 in taxes, and they're making billions of dollars. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But this is the way things have been set up, because they're the ones who are dictating how things are run. They're the ones who are putting people in office who are patting them on the back, and he's giving them brownie points. But I can tell you what, you can't keep asking people to give when they have less, and you don't want to give anything back. I am glad that Warren Buffett spoke up, because now I think that more people, more of these wealthy individuals, wealthy 1% or 2% in this country, will pay their fair share. I am not a wealthy person, but if I had to pay another $5 in taxes, I would, to change things in the economy here, because I would like to see this country be as successful as it was, and most of my life to have seen here. I'm very proud to be an American, and we have done wonderful things, in this country, and for the world at large, and I know we can continue to do that. But we really have to make it feasible for people to live and be productive here, and we're not doing that now. Case in point, when you look at the average college cost today, you have people coming out of college, they have astronomical loans and stuff like that, and now in the economy that we have now, they can't even find a job. So, it's a perpetual catch-22. You can't get a job unless a good job unless you have a college education, and now you almost have to have a master's degree to become a manager at Burger King. And something is very, very wrong with our system. And it's not just the Ivy League schools who are producing the geniuses in this country. I don't care what anybody says. That's a crock of bull, because a lot of the Ivy League schools, a lot of the people who go in there, their parents or families have paid for them to get into that school. So that does not mean that they themselves are really any more brilliant. It's really just a documentation on a piece of paper that they've gone to Harvard or Yale or Stanford or someplace like that. Case in point, you can look at the geniuses that we have here. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Yes, he might have gone to one of those schools, but he was a genius. He was a genius, and Facebook is probably one of the biggest phenomena, in the world right now. And I remember when I initially joined Facebook, and I started seeing the transition from it being a social network for young people to more of a network in general for everybody. I started seeing a more mature group of people getting on Facebook, and I like Facebook personally because it keeps me in touch with people that I know around the world. I'm sure I use it very differently than young people because I don't believe in putting all my business, on the internet. But I guess it's the generation that we live in. What can I say? But I definitely think it's a very valuable tool to have today to stay in touch with people. It has really saved me a lot of time when there was information I needed to let somebody, especially if I was going to visit someone or if someone was coming to visit me, so I could leave them a message and say, get in touch with me now, or you can call me later. You can always give information to them, and now that they have it on the smartphones, it even makes it easier because you have that information at your fingertips. So we have made lots of really amazing milestones in our lifetime here, and that's one I'm glad to see that was American because we have far too many imports coming in from China. You can't find anything that's not made in China. We don't make almost anything here anymore, which is really unfortunate because we have made very good things here in the past and we can do it again. I really want to see this country become productive and successful again economically, and that's the only way we're going to move ahead, in the next generation, if we figure out ways how we can be productive again. One thing I know for sure is that going back to where we used to be is not going to help it. That's never going to happen. The way we used to be is never going to happen. So I wish these people who seem to think that have these old stodgy ideas that think that because something worked in the past does not mean it's going to work now. I think everybody knows that solutions that might have been functional in the 70s are not going to be successful now. And and those of us who are mature, we have to accept the change. We have to accept the change because it's not happening by desire; it's happening by design. And so, therefore, either they say you put up or shut up. So we got to deal with it. We really have to deal with all the changes that are going. At this point, I'd like to conclude and thank you for listening to me rant today. I hope you have enjoyed some of my viewpoints, and I welcome to hear some of your comments. Thank you. This is Alston Green.